hold on. Before we get to that, Love Actually has a good question for all the new players out there.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
And even some of the
Let's
veterans.
sit back and
this
relax.
Is a good. We'll get back to that other topic in a second. This one I think.
All right, let me get some water as Adam starts this conversation. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a sip of my water first too, because. Yes. What is the best tool? COC, or COC plus WA, or just BOTD? Okay, so Blessing of the Dark. So let's start just getting this out of the way. That COC plus WA is the same as Blessing of the Dark. Okay, so a 50 Blessing of the Dark acts in the exact same way as a 50 COC WA. So let's split tools up into that sort of category, and then we have to also split skills up into two separate categories. One is gathering. So this is any time that you are using an action, like a tool in an action on the environment, and that will produce an item, such as what we're doing right now, like digging. I dig in the environment and it gives me, dirt, or I chop the tree and it gives me wood, or I farm the ground, or I, mine something. Okay, so those types of skills. And Sir Hedge Knight, thank you for that subscription with your Twitch Prime. Very much appreciated.
Thanks so much.
Welcome on in. Okay, so there's those types of skills, the gathering type skills. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, hey, Sir Hedge
Okay.
Knight. How are you doing?
And then there's the other types of skills, which is like improving.
Oh my god, keep that
actually,
baby face on Adam as he talks about this.
Yeah. So then there's the improving side of things, like you have all your tools in your forge and you're improving them up, just like we were doing a moment ago, like the leatherworking. Okay. Now let's start with the gathering. The gathering types of skills. What you want to do is have just Circle of Cunning, and the quality of the tool should kind of match the situation that you're in. And just as a rule of thumb, you kind of want to go on the lower end of the quality. Okay, so if you're just new to this whole thing, I would just say start with 10 quality, and then you'll kind of get a gauge for it. Some people would advocate go right to 1 quality tools with high COC. These are just rule of thumbs, because there's lots of variation in how much skill gain you're going to get based on things such as your skill, the difficulty of the action you're doing, your tool quality. There's a bunch of stuff to take into account that will determine how often you get a skill tick. But as a rule of thumb, lower quality tools with high COC are the best for gathering type skills. Wind of Ages, putting Wind of Ages on any of those actions will only serve to lower your skill gain, but they will also increase your productivity. So some people would advocate for a balance between the two. You're going to lose skill gain, but at the gain of productivity, so you might get more actions in and get more items out of it. This game, there's always that, with the gathering, there's always that balance that you have to strike. You have to decide, do I want to have high productivity, or do I want to have high skill gain? And you'll have to decide where you want to be on that spectrum. But for me personally, I would say that the best strategy is to go for skill gain first, do everything at the beginning with just high skill gain as much as possible, because later, once you have higher skill, then the productivity is exponentially faster. So in the long run, you'll be better off getting the skill gain right at the beginning. Right. So WA might give more actions per stamina bar, and then save from that time to wait stamina going up. Yes. So like you're bringing up that point where like there's that wait time to let your stamina go up, and that WA might help this. However, I've determined from experience and from testing this several times that it's better to have longer action timers for skill gain than it is to have lots of shorter action timers. And you're right, like that the stamina gaining time is a factor of that, but I think that that's not the only factor. I could be wrong, but that's my hunch anyway.
So I think that you should. Have you ever thought about using that baby face when you're teaching your kids remotely?
I did think about using the Snapchat filters for Halloween when I was teaching my kids remotely. I didn't end up using it though, because I was afraid that it would reduce, like it would lag it out.
Oh, I see.
I was afraid. And I didn't want that to happen, but I did debate it. Okay, let's see what some people are saying. Texie's saying, I use a sickle with WA only when I'm harvesting fruits because it's so slow and I just want to get the stuff. The rest of the time you use COC, yes. But Texie, if you wanted to get higher quality stuff, let's say, for example, I sent Brian out yesterday to get olives because they were in season. If he had higher skill, let's say, of course, I would say just use the WOA. But if you use the high quality, he's going to get no skill doing that. And therefore, like, you're right. There's like some balance there, right? Like you got to decide, do I want it quickly or do I want to get my skill up so that later I can get it quickly?
Here's one story.
I think that if you're just say the last sentence, if you're in it for the long haul, you'll kind of want to invest in the skill gain early on. That way, later, everything is that much faster. Okay.
Yeah, just to solidify what Adam's point. So when we first started playing, we didn't know any of this stuff. So
Right.
we picked up, I don't know, one shovel or a few shovels, and they were like great. They were like 50 quality shovels or something. They were just lying on the ground. We loved it. We could terraform so much faster with them than at the level that we were. And I was using it exclusively because I loved the fact that I could dig so much faster than anybody else that we were with. We were all new players. But what ended up happening was I just lagged behind everybody and like never got digging skill. It was so much harder for me to get digging skill. Everybody else got digging skill so much quicker than I did in the same amount of time. And I just remember wondering one day, like, why is my digging skill only like 30? But everybody's digging skill is, already in the 50s, 60s. Yeah. And I didn't clue in for like probably longer than I should have.
Right. Well, we didn't know really how the skilling system worked back then. So, but yeah. Okay, so and Tuxie, you're saying like you have 50 in forestry. So yeah, totally. At that point, when you have 50 in forestry, and you're getting the quality that you want anyway, and yeah, like I totally can see that switching to WA at that point definitely makes sense. And Love, actually, you're saying, what if I have an affinity in mining? Would it make more sense to go BFTD or just stick with COC? And again, it's stick with COC until your skill is at the place that you want. Because the affinity, all that's going to do is it's going to increase how much skill you get on each tick. But the COC is going to, what am I saying here? The BOTD will increase your action timer, so that's going to reduce how much skill you're going to get each tick. And like honestly, like you kind of have to make that choice where you want to lie on that spectrum. Like if your goal is, I want to skill gain as fast as I possibly can, I want to optimize skill gain, and this would be at the expense of productivity. So I don't care about getting that. I don't need that 500 rock shards right now. What I need is the skill gain. So instead, I'm going to produce 100 rock shards, but I'm going to gain like triple the amount of skill that I would if I would have produced those 500 rock shards, right? So you have to make that decision early on. And if you decide, I want to get skill gain, like if that's your choice, I want to get skill gain, that's what's important to me, then you want low quality tools, high COC, and that will really get you going. Like your skill will be 50 or 60 before you even know it. And at that point, you could switch to BOTD and you can increase the productivity. You can now mine out 500 rock shards in no time flat with your pickaxe. And the stuff is going to come out at 60 quality, and that might really help your masonry now, right? Like, so yeah, for skill gain, particularly, you want low quality skills low quality tools, high COC for the resource gathering things. Now, let's go to the other group of skills, and that's like the improving skills, like your blacksmithing or your carpentry or whatever it is. What you want to do there is have the highest quality tools you possibly can get, right? Like as high as you possibly can get your hands on, and with the highest circle of cunning. And in that situation, you'll optimize your skill gain. Okay, so like no WA or no BOTD, just high quality tools, high COC. That increases your skill gain. But of course, again, productivity suffers because you're going slower now. And in this situation, I think that there's a little bit better trade-off there. Like you could use BOTD tools there and get decent skill gain still, because with high quality tools, you're going to get more skill gain, more skill ticks, right? And therefore, sure, the faster action timers might mean the skill ticks are going to be smaller, but you're still getting them frequently, and therefore this WOA plus COC would eventually get your skill to go up. It's going to be slower than if you just have COC, but it'll still be going up at a rate that's reasonable. And there's where I'd say that it's a better trade-off there. Right. What about characteristics? Characteristics work differently. With characteristics, I don't think the difficulty of the action plays a role. And so with characteristics, you want those to go up. If you want those to go up, the best way is just to get as many actions in as you possibly can. So high WA, high quality tools. You'll notice here that your skills will go up faster if your skills are higher, because you get lower action timers. So yeah, for characteristics only, you want high everything, fastest as possible, and then your characteristics will go up faster that way. Yeah, so low, yeah, just high everything for characteristics. But for the actual skills, for gathering, you want low quality tools with high COC. For imping, you want high quality tools with COC. That's if your focus is on skill gain alone.
So basically, if I were to sum that up, just get both tools. Just get a BOTD one and a COC one.
Right. This is now that's for later, right? Like on my high level blacksmither, for example,
Even
I would
now
have
you
both.
do that.
Even now, like by now, like now that I'm in the 60s, right? Like now is a good time to maybe start doing that, because then there will come a point where like you're like, I just want to imp my weapon up. I don't care about skill gain right now. I just want to do it quickly. And you can switch over to your fast tools. Like I would have a fast set of tools, and for those purposes, and then I would have my slow tools that have high COC on them specifically for grinding and getting more skill. And it'll depend on what mood I'm in, like, or what my goals are at that moment. Do I want to get these 10 pickaxes all to 90 quality right now as fast as possible? Sure, then I'll just use my WOA tools. I won't get that much skill from it. Or if I want a skill gain, then I can just switch over to my COCs. Right, Dresden. Yeah, and min-maxing is something that you don't need to do in this game, and you'll still... But see, the thing is, though, is that if you're new to the game and you don't know the systems very well, and you just go like, give me that 90 quality shovel. My digging's I just started digging. If I use this 90 quality shovel, wouldn't that be great? What you're going to find is that after playing for a long time, your digging is still going to be really low. Even though you got some stuff done.
But it's that's
Love Actually,
what tricks you as a low.
So much for this sub.
Thank you so much, Love Actually.
Yeah.
It tricks you, right? It tricks you as a new player in thinking, I need to use this. I'm working so much faster than without it.
So much faster. Yeah. But the reality is that when you get high skill, that alone will make you go that much faster. Like, my miner on the other can have like 2-second mining actions, under 2-second mining actions.
That's not the exciting
part. 10
part.
of them.
Yeah, the exciting part is how many 2-second mining actions you can do in a row.
Yeah, I can do like 10 2-second actions in a row without having to wait for my stamina to refresh. And it's like and all of the ores coming out at 90 quality, like it's just insane. And like that's sort of get to as quickly as possible. Because once you're there, then productivity is just through the roof. So it pays to spend time with the long action timers and the high skill gain for a while, because later it just pays off a lot. Yeah. But truly, yeah, Dresden, the way you're playing is just perfectly fine as well. Like, you don't have to totally focus on min-maxing. Just enjoy the game. Just be aware that you want to, at least while you're doing that, you want to get some skill gain, right? So don't go with the highest quality tools. Just like stick with like mid-range tools to get that balance, skill gain plus,
And that's what's so great about this game, is the fact that you can do a simple thing as improving an item, but that and anyone can do it. Doesn't take that long to learn it, but then the intricacies of doing it, all these little tips that you can use to do that same imping action that could change all sorts of different ways of either earning skill or earning more items in the same amount of time. Like there's all these intricacies that you can learn that'll help you over time throughout the lifespan of this game, over something as simple as hitting a mine vein as an example.
Right. Or picking the right quality tool
for that action.
Right.
And that's what I love about this game.
Yeah, there's so much to know, so much to learn. Here, I know something. See if I can find it. Okay, I found it. I'll put it in the chat. Does anything make surface mining less awful? Yes, totally. There's a couple of things. One, okay. The obvious one is your higher your skill, the better surface mining is. Okay, so once you get your mining up to a high level, then what you're going to see is you're going to be successful in the surface mining about half of your actions. Okay, so that's definitely something. Whereas at the beginning, it might feel like 1 in every 5 actions is making it go down. The other thing is that they added a new enchant relatively recently for Magrenon priests called Stone Strike. So if a pickaxe has Stone Strike on it, it increases the chances that the surface will go down on a surface mining action. Okay, so those two things can help. I honestly feel like get your mining up, right? Like spend time getting that mining up, because that does increase the rate at which surface mining is successful.
Quite a lot, actually.
Quite a lot, yeah.
Never used to. Then they made a change.
Didn't used to.
They made a change that made it impact it. Your skill impacts the amount of rock that you mine by a lot.
When we surface mined Autumn Twilight way back in the day, and it was like a massive surface mining project.
That was before the change.
It took us months. That was before the change. So like even with my high skill, it was like 1 in every 5 actions would work. And there is the other thing, is that the faster your actions are, the better too, right? So higher level mining did provide faster actions, which then made it so that you could surface mine faster. So that's another factor. So WOA might work there. I actually had this question yesterday, or maybe the day before we were surface mining. I was wondering, does Stone Strike stack with WOA or not? Does anybody know?
But I thought Stone Strike, you said, just increases. Does it increase action timers?
Nope. It increases the chance.
Increases the chance of
it going down.
Yeah, of it going down. I don't even think that they need to be related at all. It would still go together. They don't do the same thing.
They don't do the same thing, but maybe they made it so that they don't stack. Like, for example, on a weapon, nimbleness doesn't stack with WA, even though they do something different.
You mean one overrides the other?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're taking the right place. Yeah, one.
That's what you mean.
It doesn't
like,
override it. It's
stacking.
just that if there's WA on it and you try to cast nimbleness, it says you cannot cast nimbleness.
Oh, that's what you mean. So you're asking, can you cast those two spells on the same item? Okay.
Right.
I thought you meant when they're on the item, do they...
Oh, no. I meant, can you have them at the same time? Okay, so to Leo, I'm going to answer your question first, and I'm going to talk about this grinder link that I did. Is it true that when you imp leather items, the quality of the leather plays no role in it? It's not no role, but you're right that you can take a 20 quality piece and imp it to 90. You can. It's just that 20 quality leather piece will act like a 20 quality tool, and therefore it would fail a lot when you're imping it way above. So it does play a role, but you're right. You can.
That's a good way of thinking about it, actually. Just think of it like a leather piece is exactly like a tool.
Right,
so it just
exactly like a tool.
Acts like a 20 quality leather knife or something.
Right. Like you could use a 70 quality mallet to improve leather to 90 quality if you wanted to, right? But you're right, that's different than most other skills in this game.
It's the only skill that does that.
It's the only skill that does that. Yeah. Okay. Grinder, because this relates back to this like leveling up in Circle of Cunning and all that stuff like that. This is a tool, I'm not sure who made it, but it's a simulator that will basically allow you to set what your skill is, what level tool you're using.
You want me to show
how difficult the action is. I've been told to just use the fixed bonus for most things.
This is it here.
Unless the skill you're using is like listed under here, because all that will do, like if the skill that you're trying to skill up is here, like for example digging, let's pick digging. What it'll do is it'll customize these drop down menus to account for digging. For example, in the tile difficulty you can actually pick the actual tile.
All right, so let's show the simulation on what we were talking about. So we were talking about a high level shovel is bad for a low level person trying to gain skill. So let's do two scenarios: a low level person trying to use a high level shovel, and a low level person using a 10 quality shovel.
So let's say digging skill's 10 or something like that. You're like low. Yeah. But you're using a 90 quality shovel or something like that.
Yep.
And let's say the slope is like 20.
Average.
Just make an average, like a 20 on average, right? Because
tile difficulty just 0.
The slope will affect the difficulty, and the tile difficulty. Let's just say we're doing dirt, but you can notice the different types of things you could be digging that will increase the difficulty. But let's say you're just digging dirt, then it hits.
That's odd. That
what it's gonna do
is because as soon as you dig step, it turns into dirt.
Turns into dirt, right? So you'll have to like dig the step and then move over and dig it again and move over. Play it. Okay, so
anyway,
and it's gonna by default do 50,000 actions.
Is that fine?
Like in a matter of seconds? Sure, yeah. It's like
okay. So I think 90 quality shovel. Let's take a look. So let me just put this over here. Submit.
Actually, you know what? That's interesting. That gave a good rate, actually, of skill gain.
Ooh. Skill gain, 51.2%.
Yeah, that's really good. What if it was a low quality shovel? Let's say 10. Wow, that's even worse. So, is there a sweet spot in here? Wow, it does look like higher the better. I was not expecting that.
That was not the way that it was before.
Huh. What if the slope was 0? Let's just see what happens there. No, it's not going to affect it at all. It seems as though at low... Okay, maybe this is because it's low digging skill. It might be this. It might be the fact that because your skill is so low, that doesn't matter what the quality of your shovel is, that you're going to hit that spot where you are getting a skill tick, right? Because skill will only happen, and this is the part that everybody should know, is that skill will only happen if the action was successful, but not too successful. Okay, like if you dug and it came out at like 3 quality dirt, that is good because it's successful, but not too successful, and therefore you get a skill tick.
So here's the better.
If you dig...
Here's the better scenario then.
Okay,
if
so
I
let's
was
say
at
you're-
50 digging skill and I was using a
let's say you're
90
50.
quality shovel,
Right. Okay, let's see.
and
what
I get a
happens
skill gain of 12.94%.
there. Right.
If I did the same thing but used a 30 quality shovel as an example,
Right.
I would get 48.38%.
Right, and that's what that percent is what percentage of actions gives you a skill tick. Okay, so if you're at 50 skill and you're using a 90 quality shovel, then only 12% of the actions you do is going to give you a skill tick. And that skill tick is going to probably be small because the action timers are going to be short because you're using a 90 quality shovel. And so you're getting infrequent ticks, and each tick is small. Whereas
Right.
if you use a 30 quality shovel, you're going to get far more frequent skill ticks. So it seems like when your skill is low, it actually doesn't matter too much because you're going to be failing a lot anyway, even with a 90 quality shovel, and therefore you're going to get skill when you do succeed, but not succeed too well.
So
Once
it's
your skill
almost
gets
like
to a decent amount, let's even see 30. What happens at 30 with a 90
So if your
quality
skill's
shovel?
down here and you want a high level shovel or tool, and then as your skill goes up, you want a lower level tool, and it just sort of does something like that. Although it does it really quickly. The tool needs to go down quite substantially.
Now I'm currently doing farming, so I'm actually going to type in some farming stuff here because I'm curious to know where my rate quality should be at. Oh, and here it looks like nature skill plays a role. The crop quality plays a role. So I'm currently doing WEMP, which is really low. And let's say my nature skill, I don't even know what it is, but let's say it's 30. And then my rake quality right now is somewhere in the like 8 or something like that. And my rake skill, I don't even know what that is. Let's say it's 20 or 30. Say 30. Okay, so right now I'm getting 52% at those numbers. So let's say I increase my rate quality to 20, let's say. Does that help? No, that makes it worse. What if I reduce my rate quality to 1? That keeps it in the 53%. So I think that I'm doing okay in terms of where my rate quality is for my skill on WEMP. The other thing to know is that what you want, like a good percentage, is somewhere in the vicinity of 50%. If you're above 50%, you're doing great. If you start dipping below 50%, that's when you start wanting to like look at switching things up to get it back to 50%. Pickaxe skill does play a role in determining the difficulty of the action or the success of the outcome. In the same way that, let's say, your hammer skill will play a role in determining how successful you are in improving, or whether or not you're successful in improving, which does play a role in whether or not you get a skill tick or not. It's a minor thing, and the reason why I say it's minor is because everybody is going to get their pickaxe skill up as they mine anyway. It's not like you can control that, right? It's not like I'll just lower my pickaxe skill so that I get more, but it does play a role in the way it calculates whether or not you get a skill tick. So for the grinder to correctly, accurately simulate the situation, it needs to know that what your pickaxe skill is approximately.